Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today you're getting our final review of Veleno from Fleshgod Apocalypse. Alright, so we spent the entire week listening to this album non-stop. TV Fish, give us your thoughts.
Alright, so after listening to this album for 1 week, I'll have to say this album is really good. In our first impressions, we talked about how much content there is with this album, and after 1 week, my opinion has not changed on that. This album has a lot to take in. Now, I felt it was a little bit overwhelming in our first impressions, because we only listened to the album once at the time, so having to really consider so much in every song just on one listen's a little bit much. But after the week's gone on, honestly, I feel like there's probably still things in this album I haven't noticed. But I feel like that's a slight flaw, only because there's just so much in every song. But I feel like I've gotten used to a bunch of the songs, and they've grown on me to an extent. Absinthe is one for sure that has definitely grown on me. When we listened to it in a first impression, it didn't really stand out as anything incredible. But the more I listened to it throughout the week, I felt like this song is something that kept jumping out at me like, hey, this one's pretty good. It kept catching my ear as something notable, so I like that. And it does have a few moments of bass feature. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I did.
Which I love. It was also, that kind of thing was also in Worship and Forget, which was also sick. I really love when the bass is the focal point in any music, because bass doesn't get enough love. And honestly, it felt very consistent to an extent. What I enjoyed felt kind of like the same things I was going to enjoy. Mona Lisa is still an amazing song, and it really stands out as something totally different among the rest of the album. Even with some songs going whatever directions, I feel like this song is just something else, but in a good way.
Yeah, you said that there's a lot crammed into this album. I feel the same way. There's definitely a lot crammed into there, but for me, I feel like it's a lot of the same stuff crammed into a lot of songs, which for me is a bit of a flaw. For example, the first 3 songs, I feel like they all just kind of blend together. They have their own sound, I can tell the difference between them, but they almost don't all need to be there. They all give me the exact same vibes, the same feelings. They just do the same for my ears that I feel like it's useless having them all 3 there. After that, you got the Praying Mantis Strategy, which is a interlude. Not bad. Don't like it, don't hate it. It's just there. Could be there, could not be there. I wouldn't care either way. It's just kind of useless to me, but whatever, it's okay. After that though, you got Mona Lisa, Worship and Forget, and Absinthe. That 3-song segment is the best part of this album. Listening to those 3 songs in concession is badass. They're all amazing. They all have their own flavors, their own unique characteristics. Like when Absinthe starts and you got, which one is it? It's either Fabio or Paolo, one of the backing vocalists, I don't know which one's which, but he sings most of the leads in that song, and it's refreshing, because before that you're getting Francesco's the lead singer? Yeah, I think so. You're getting him growling through the first half of the album, minus obviously Mona Lisa. Whoever sings that one's different as well. It's just everything about those 3 songs is so refreshing. You mentioned the bass licks getting some love. I also noticed some bass licks getting love in Embrace the Oblivion, which is near the end of the album. But that 3-song section is the focal point for me. It's what I kept going back to. It's what I kept turning up. I just love those 3 songs, and I love the fact that they're all together, because it just gives you such enjoyment for a good 15-20 minutes solid of just awesome metal content. It's awesome.
I can totally agree with that. Those 3 are great. Honestly, the second half of the album started to speak out to me a little bit more as something strong. We did kind of, bag a little bit on The Day Will Be Gone, which the more I listened to this album, the more it kind of blended properly with everything else. It didn't feel like anything was out of place. We said it was a bit long, but when I was listening to it throughout the week, I didn't really pay much mind to that, so it didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I have to have the opposite effect, the opposite opinion on that. Unfortunately, that song did start to wear on me quite a bit, to the point where I was skipping it. I hate skipping songs, I like just enduring, but it got to the point where that soprano vocal was just getting a little bit too high for me, to the point where it was almost ear piercing. And it's not that I don't like high notes. I do like high notes. It's something that I actually favor, but there's a limit. And this point, you know, maybe it's not even a limit. It might even be the contrast, because you're hearing Veronica singing this like so high. I don't even know what note she's hitting, but she's super high. And then Francesco singing so low with his lower register. The contrast wasn't matching for me. It wasn't a yin and a yang. It was something else. And I found it was just leaving more of a bitter sound in my ear. So that song, I was more like, I would tolerate it a bunch of times and I'd be like, you know what, I'm done, skip it, skip it, skip it. But I mean, that's one I would call blemish on the album. It's not a bad song. It's still got its moments, but I think they just go a little bit too far with the soprano vocals.
So after a week, what are your thoughts on the title track? Because I think it's amazing.
I think it's amazing as well. I think it's soothing, it's beautiful. I mean, what else can I say about it? It's a nice closer to the album. Yeah.
I found it funny how sometimes when we listen to albums that have, you know, final tracks that are just like instrumental or super small things that we kind of say, oh, why is this here? It doesn't need to be here. It can end with so-and-so's song. But this one's different, I find. It's just so beautiful, and I love just putting on that one alone.
Yeah.
And it's just so great. And the way that Embrace the Oblivion goes into it, how it concludes into that song, it's so good. That's another thing about this album I found interesting, how every song blends into the next one very, very well and very cleanly.
It's a seamless album.
At some points to a fault though, because you mentioned the first 3 tracks and how they all kind of blend together.
Yeah.
I feel like without a defined ending to the first 2, or like the first one really, because Sugar kind of has its own introduction thing, but the way that the first 2 songs blend into each other honestly feels like one song.
It does.
Like it just kind of, it's a little bit much, which makes both the songs kind of feel like the same thing.
Yeah, and it's like, they're not bad songs, it's just like, if they all feel like the same song, it's like...
It kind of detracts from
the positivity you could say about the album, really. Like, they lack character. And that's something we talk about a lot on this channel, is songs have to have character, they have to have individuality, they have to have their own identity in order for them to speak out to the listener. And those 3 songs, I'd say Sugar, which was the single, is out of those 3 tracks the one that stands out the most.
Yeah.
But that might be because I can put an image to the song, because I've seen the video.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean? It's something like that. But Carnivorous Lamb and Fury, again, both cool songs, kind of just mesh together.
Yeah.
Right? It's like putting peanut butter and butter on a sandwich. Like, you don't need to do that.
And
then you push the bread together, and now what do you got? You got peanut butter butter. Peanut butter sandwich.
No one
Useless.
wants that.
No one wants
too
that.
much. Too much butter.
Yeah, it might taste good, but
it's still excessive.
why don't you use another condiment?
Yeah. Jam is there for a reason.
Yeah.
Also, I want to mention, even though this is not part of the actual, like, our consideration for review, there is a Rammstein cover on this album for Reise Reise, and it's amazing.
It is.
Just thought I'd mention, like, when I first heard it, thought this is an original take on the song, and it sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Like, such a good cover of the song.
Anyways, what you say, we get to the ratings.
Alright, so I guess I'll rate it first.
Okay.
This album is solid. Like, I can say that without a doubt after a week of listening, but something about it didn't have the proper spark for me, so I can't say it's a toe tag album, but it's honestly, I didn't get bored of it at all. I enjoyed what I heard, so this album gets a 7 because it's still pretty damn good. So how about you?
Solid score. You know, similar feelings. I think this album is really good. Didn't get bored of it, minus The Day Will Be Gone. That song ended up being skippable for me. But all in all, I also don't think it deserves a toe tag. Still a super strong album, but there's just too much stuff that sounds the same. Not enough special moments that grab me. But it's literally, for me, it's on the doorstep. I'm giving it a 7.5, which is a bit of a shame. That doesn't get a toe tag from me, but it just didn't have that spark, didn't do it for me, and it needs that. So 7.5 for me, it's really close. I highly consider it a toe tag, it just didn't make it. You gave it a 7. Pretty solid scores, but as usual, we want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. So be sure to comment below. Let us know what you guys think of the album, what you think of the single Sugar, what you think of this video and our opinions. Let us know, we're always Eager to hear from you guys. And that's it for this video. So like the video, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. We're very close to 12,000 subscribers. Pretty cool. I'm Bile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
See you guys on the next one.